Back to school means a time to check in on school bus safety. Here's reporter Sonia Goins.
Playtime will soon be over.
Tuesday.
In a few days, students will be hopping on school buses to head back to the classroom. But some parents are concerned about careless drivers.
I'm very worried because our street is horrible. Like, drivers just fly by. That's always been an issue.
By law, motorists in both directions must stop when school bus flashing lights come on and the stop arm extends. But many drivers fail to follow the law. First student bus driver Brian Miranda says violations happen far too often.
Sometimes we have to put our hands out to signal to them that there's a stop sign, and yet still they don't stop.
Those actions put students in danger.
We request that you keep at least 20 feet if you've got oncoming traffic, because you want to be able to see the students.
Jennifer Dole says drivers sometimes get impatient waiting for students to board, and that can lead to a serious safety issue.
And motorists should never try to pass a bus when the lights are on and the stop arm is out.
And that's whether you're driving a car, a motorcycle, a bicycle, whatever you're doing, see those red lights. So when you run that stop arm, you run the risk of seriously injuring and possibly even killing a student.
Bottom line, drivers should slow down, pay attention, and anticipate school children and buses, especially in neighborhoods and school zones.
Getting on and off the bus is where children face the most risk.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Recently, the Department of Public Safety issued grants to schools and transportation companies to install cameras on stop arms. First Student in Brooklyn Park, which serves the Osseo district, hopes to have the devices installed soon. Robbinsdale released numbers of how many carp they've pulled from Crystal Lake over the last 2 years. Crews removed more than 3,700 invasive common carp from Crystal Lake this year. Add that to last year's haul of more than 3,900 carp, and the group believes they've removed 65% of all of the carp in the lake. The Shingle Creek Watershed Management Commission organized this project that includes applying alum treatments later this month to improve the lake's water quality. The Animal Humane Society is tackling the nationwide shortage of vet techs by developing a new trainee program of its own. The program will have classroom lessons and hands-on practice in Golden Valley and in clinics around the metro. They hope to produce 10 to 15 vet techs by early next year.
The shortage of vet techs has been a years and possibly decades issue that's been going on. The number of professionals in the veterinary field, both technicians and veterinarians as well.
It's going to be pretty intensive over about 7 months, so that's a lot of education you're getting, a lot of experience, hands-on work that you might not get at other places where you're coming in without really any experience maybe.
No prior experience with animals is required. If you're interested, you can find the application on the Animal Humane Society website. A student from Hennepin Technical College received some national recognition this summer for his woodworking expertise. Delane Cleveland introduces us to the student and his elaborately designed coffee table.
On the Brooklyn Park campus of Hennepin Technical College, students can explore a wide range of possible careers. One of the programs offered here is cabinet making. It's a skill set that appealed to Duncan McLesley.
My mom kind of saw me getting into the woodworking side of things, and she was like, well, why don't you look into like a woodworking school, a cabinet school?
Over the past 2 years, you could say he's perfected the art of cabinet making, as evidenced by a unique table he put together in order to earn his degree.
To graduate, each person has to design and build something, as long as they design it themselves.
Yet Duncan didn't just build a simple table.
Essentially what this is it's a puzzle box locking table.
He came up with an elaborate design that's quite literally an engineering wonder.
The whole steampunk aesthetic is something I'm super into, I've always been into. And then just motion in general.
Duncan built a coffee table complete with gears, cranks, knobs, and enough moving parts to make a 19th century industrial machinist proud.
To access this end drawer, you have to pull each of the front 3 drawers out.
It even has a hidden drawer that can only be accessed by getting several other drawers in a specific position.
It's not just, oh, it's got drawers, you pull out the drawers, you put your crap in it, and you put them back in. It's like, oh wow, it's a lock system, you can see it moving It's like fun to interact with.
He estimates he's spent about 300 hours on drawing, building, and tinkering to get the table working properly.
And it's definitely the piece I'm most proud of ever making.
Proud, not just because it helped him earn his degree, but a national award as well.
The fact that it got recognized at a national show is really kind of incredible.
Duncan's table took second place in a design emphasis competition in Atlanta. It's like the Olympics, but for people who build furniture.
The fact that it's appreciated was plenty.
Now, with school and the competition behind him,
When you turn this one, it actually affects the gear down here.
Duncan hopes to make more of these tables and ultimately have them end up in people's homes.
I don't want to just wait 5-10 years and come back and be like, oh, I made another one. You know, I want to keep that momentum going.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane, Cleveland, CCX News.
And finally, we started off with school bus safety. Now we're going to talk pedestrian safety. The city of Crystal wants to make car pedestrian crashes extinct. It has a friendly dinosaur to make its point. The city recently created this video to bring more attention to pedestrian safety. And here's a few tips. For people crossing a street, put 1 foot into the street to make your intentions clear and make eye contact with drivers before crossing. Wearing reflective clothing is also important, especially as we lose daylight in the fall. And for drivers, state law requires vehicles to yield for pedestrians at crosswalks, whether at a signalized intersection or marked or unmarked crosswalks. Be safe out there.
Make eye contact with the driver before crossing.
The Wayzata tennis team has faced some good opponents early this season, including a loss to top-ranked Minnetonka. The Trojans had a close battle this week with Delano, and Jay Wilcox has the highlights.
Wayzata hosting Delano on a hot afternoon for girls tennis. First singles, Lucy Nebedrick of Wayzata's in the near court facing Bella Molitor. Nebedrick with a backhand down the line, then she comes back the same way with a forehand winner. Nebedrick rolls to a 6-0, 6-0 win. At number 1 doubles, Delano's Caitlin Ring and Addie Persian in the near court against Michelle Sow and Belle Salisbury. A good net battle, and then Persian's first overhead is returned, but not the second. The Delano duo wins in 3 sets. At second singles, Wayzata's Greta Holmes is in the far court facing Aubrey Whitwer. Holmes with a forehand to the corner that Whitwer just gets to, then she fires a forehand the other way that's returned into the net. Holmes wins 6-0, 6-2 as Wayzata wins 3 of the 4 singles matches. Second doubles, and Emily Drager and Greta Persian of Delano meeting Kate Walborn and Paige Woodrum. After an exchange, Persian delivers the passing shot. The Tigers win this match, but it's Wayzata winning at third doubles to pull out a 4-3 win. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
High school soccer teams are in their 3rd week of play for the season. Earlier this week, the Totino-Grace girls scored a win on the road.
Armstrong Cooper now combined in girls soccer, playing at Armstrong Tuesday, taking on Totino-Grace. The Eagles score first, and it comes early. Kayla Terhar attacking on the left side. She crosses the ball to Elena Angum. Angum scores 42 seconds into the match to get the Eagles on the board. Same score early in the second half. Mackenzie Keene of Grace creates some space for herself and then lofts the shot in. The Eagles are up 2-0 on the AC Football Club. And Totino caps the scoring in the final 4 minutes of play. Emily Ling from 18 yards out chips a perfect shot into the far corner of the net. Totino-Grace improves to 2-1 on the season with a 3-0 shutout of Armstrong Cooper.
Look for prep football highlights and more Monday on our website at ccxmedia.org. With fewer boats on Minnesota lakes in September, this is a good time to get out and fish for walleyes. Terry Tuma talks about one way to catch those late summer lunkers.
Using lead core for fishing walleyes is an extremely productive way, especially through the summer and the fall pattern. But I learned lead core from an angler many, many years ago. He started in the spring as soon as the season was open and kept on lead coring all the way to freeze up. Here again, too, it works extremely well, not just on the river systems or bigger, larger lakes. It works on all bodies of water. And with lead core, I generally use anywhere from 12 to 17 pound test, and then attached to that with a barrel swivel, and then a monoliter of about 10 feet in length with 10 pound test. The reason I use a mono leader is because the stretch lift cord does not stretch whatsoever. I also use a line counter reel under these kind of conditions, so you exactly know how much line you caught that last fish on or how deep that crankbait is running. Always remember that the crankbait has to be in the strike zone of those walleyes. And then too, what you're talking about crankbaits, you can use a multiple, and we do a lot of experiment with crankbait colors and the vibration action, which are extremely popular, if you will, with the smaller sizes. But here again, don't get hung up on one size, one color, rattles or no rattles. Experiment with all of them. It's amazing how one day one color can be productive and the next day it's going to be a totally different color. Fun way to catch walleyes.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.
Don't miss the Maple Grove Mayor's Prayer Breakfast on Thursday, September 29th at Rush Creek Golf Club. Find out more at ccxmedia.org under Cities in Maple Grove.